Okay, my dear students, today you will see the solution of last time's homework. Some questions I gave from the chapter Unit and Dimension and a few I gave from the chapter Significant Figure, that is chapter number 2. First one is quite simple. Convert 1 joule into ergs. Let 1 joule is equal to x ergs. Therefore, x value will come 1 joule upon 1 erg. 1 joule, joule's dimension is ml square t minus 2. This we will write. Separate m1 by that ratio way. m1 is mkx unit or SI unit. So m1 value is 1000 and m2 value is 1. L1 is 100, that is meter, and this is centimeter, 100 by 1. Here t1, t2, both of the name are time in seconds. That is 1 by 1 ratio. 1000 you write here, 100 square means 100 square. 1 to the power anything is 1. So 1000 and this one I am writing, and then ultimately the answer is 10 to the power of 7. Now we conclude the answer by writing, therefore 1 joule is equal to 10 to the power of 7 ergs. Now question number 2, convert 1 kilogram per meter cube into gram per centimeter cube. Same way we will let 1 kg per meter cube is equal to x gram per centimeter cube. Therefore x value is coming 1 kg per meter cube by 1 gram per centimeter cube. Kg means mass, L cube is L cube, that will come up become minus 3. The same way we write down here also the same thing. Then now separate m1 by m2, L1 by L2. m1 is kg, this is gram. So ratio is coming 1000 upon 1. This is 1 gram and this is 1000 gram. L1 is 100 centimeter and this L2 is 1 centimeter. 1000 and 100 over minus 3 I write that is 1 upon, turning upside down 1 upon 100 to the power of cube. Sign of the power will change. Now 1000 and see the calculation 3 times I am writing, cancel. 1 upon 1000 is left over, therefore we write the answer 1 kg per meter cube is equal to 1 upon 1000 gram per centimeter cube. One simple example, you know what is the density of pure water? The density of pure water is 1000 kg per meter cube, and which is equal to 1 gram per centimeter cube. There is 1000 kg per meter cube, 1000 upon 1000 cancel, answer is 1. So that way it comes. Now convert 1 kilowatt hour into joules. So we are doing the same way. Therefore x value is 1 kilowatt hour by 1 joule. 1 kilo means 1000. Here watt means power and hour comes for time. I write P1 into T1. Here I write P2 into T2. Same way, because joule means energy. Energy formula is also power into time. 1000 write as it is. P1, P2 are both energies in terms of joule. So joule and joule cancelling. So there is no dimension for this ratio. The value is coming 1. T1 and T2. T1 out here is taken in hours and out here is taken in seconds. So I left T1 by T2 ratio only. So T1 value is hour, that is 1 hour makes how much seconds? 60 to 60. This is 1 second. Calculation gives answer this. 1 kilowatt hour gives 36,000 and 36 and 50 joule. In decimal point we write that is 3.6 into 10 to the power of 6 joule. I think this is you learned in class 10 also. So this was the solution for the chapter number 1, unit and dimension. Now see the solution of significant figure. This is quite simple. This is the zeros occurring in between the numbers. So they are significant. Count everything. 1, 2, 3, 4. So answer is 4. Now out here 4 is ending with 0, but this is what kind of number? This is the number which does not have decimal. That means this is non-decimal number. So non-decimal number, zeros are non-significant, ending zeros are non-significant. So only the significant figure is 4 over here. But same way if you look at this, no power we don't see 3.0. This is your decimal number. So in decimal number the ending zeros are significant. That's why I am counting everything here when writing the answer. Here trailing zeros, here the trailing zeros or the starting zeros are non-significant. So we are not counting them. So we are just counting this number, which is 1. And out here 2, 3, so like 2. Here this power not to be seen. 1, 2, 3, so right answer 3. Here count everything because 0 is coming in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here 1, 2, 3, 4. In starting zeros we are not counting. So 1, 2, 3, and out here 1. This is quite simple. So this was the solution for the last time's homework. Now we will be starting a new chapter, vectors. Okay, the name of the chapter is vectors. This is quite an important chapter for class 11 and this will carry on in class 12 and in colleges as well. So please learn it well. What are scalars and what are vectors? There are two types of physical quantities, scalars and vectors. I think you learned in lower classes. Scalars are those physical quantities which has only magnitude but no direction. Only magnitude. What is the meaning of magnitude? Size. The numerical value of a physical quantity is called its magnitude. I say the force of 50 Newton is acting. So 50 Newton is the value of magnitude. I say a body is displaced through 5 meters. So 5 meters is the value of the magnitude of displacement. Now that is the meaning of magnitude. Magnitude is size or the amount or the numerical value associated to a physical quantity. So what are vectors? Vectors are those physical quantities which has both magnitude and direction. What is the example of vectors? There are quite many, so few common examples we know that we have learned in lower classes as well, like force, acceleration, velocity, momentum, torque. Torque is also called moment of force, displacement, etc. Now, vector quantities are represented by usually the capital letters and with an arrow on top. Like if A is a vector, A can be force. If it is force, we can even write like this F. If it is force, we can write F and on top arrow. That is vector. Force vector. B is, we can same way we can write B is maybe some other type of physical quantity, but we represent it by an arrow on top. On the head we give an arrow. Now this will have direction and this will also have magnitude. So magnitude of the vector A is given by this symbol. This is called modulus. Or it is called magnitude of vector A. We can write either this way or A. That means we are talking only about the size of this vector. What is the numerical value of this vector? Maybe 50 Newton, maybe 60 Newton, or maybe 30 kilometer, whatever the numerical value, that will be denoting by this sign. Modulus either, or we can just write simply A without any arrow. That means this is only the value of magnitude. Same way for B, we can write either like this or this. This is magnitude of B, modulus of B, modulus of B, or magnitude of B, or we can simply write without arrow. That is only magnitude. Now, what are called equal vectors? Two vectors are said to be equal when they are having same equal magnitude and same direction. When the two vectors act in the same direction having equal magnitude, we call them equal vectors. For example, and we denote by this sign, vector A and vector B are equal. That means suppose force F1 is acting like this, F2 is also acting in the same direction and having the same size. You can check the size of this and this I have taken equal. Or maybe this is 50 Newton, this is also 50 Newton, so they are called equal vectors. What are opposite vectors? Opposite vector is those vectors whose direction is opposite to a given vector. And if it is equal opposite vectors, then they must have equal magnitude but opposite in direction. So we will be writing as A equal to minus B. Minus means change the direction. For example, if A is acting like this, B will be acting in the opposite direction here, like this. B is acting like this. This is vector A, this is vector B. They are having equal, if they are having equal magnitude, we write equal sign over here. But they are called opposite vector. Opposite vector means that they are opposite in direction. What are called null vectors? Null vectors are also called zero vector. Means those vectors whose magnitude is zero. Zero is also a kind of number. They can have even zero magnitude. Those vectors whose magnitude is zero is called null vectors. What are called unit vectors? Those vectors whose magnitude is 1. We can write either like this magnitude is 0 or we can simply write 0. Or if the number is magnitude value is 1, so we just write as 1. So this is called unit vectors. Now there is a special rule for the addition of two vectors. Two vectors we cannot simply add in all the situations. I think in class 9 we used to do some kind of problems like this, distance and displacement problem. What is called distance? The total length traveled by a body is called distance. A boy goes 3 kilometers in this direction. If this direction, I just follow the mapping over here like this. This is west, this is east, like this. A boy moves 3 kilometers towards east and then he goes 4 kilometer towards north. 4 kilometer towards the north. Find the distance traveled by the boy and the displacement also of the boy. So for that we used to do like this. Distance would be equal to 3 plus 4, simple addition, because distance is scalar. So scalar quantities are always simply added, but vectors are not simply added. Displacement is vector. Displacement is called the shortest distance between the 2 points in a specific direction. Shortest path. The shortest path between these 2 points, the starting point and the ending point, the shortest path is by a straight line joining them. In this case, it becomes a right angle triangle, and we'll find the hypotenuse of this triangle, and 3 square plus 4 square gives us a 5 kilometer. And it will have a specific direction. Direction also you have to mention. What direction would you call it? That is, what direction that this is going. So what direction do you call it? North, east. And it will be having some specific angle also. At that particular angle it is acting in the northeast direction. The key point is the displacement value, which is vector, is coming 5. It is not coming simple addition. 3 plus 4, 7 is not coming. It is coming different order. So there is a specific rule for the addition of vectors, and about that mainly we have to concentrate. So there are 2 rules to add 2 vectors. First one is called law of parallelogram for the addition of 2 vectors, and the second law is called law of triangle for the addition of vectors. So now first law, that is called law of parallelogram of addition of 2 vectors. Okay, the first law is called law of parallelogram for addition of 2 vectors. Okay, according to this law, we make a parallelogram. PQRS is a parallelogram we are making. You know, parallelogram, opposite sides are equal and parallel. So we say the statement like this. There is a statement also about it. When 2 vectors A and B represent 2 adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then the diagonal of the parallelogram from the common origin is the resultant of the addition of 2 vectors. What I mean to say, these 2 sides are adjacent sides and these 2 are opposite sides. So these 2 sides are representing 2 vectors, vector A and vector B. Vector A's magnitude I am taking A, vector B's magnitude is taken as B. Then the resultant means the sum of their additions of the vector A and vector B is given by the diagonal of the parallelogram from the common origin. Here is the origin from where both the vectors are emerging out. That is, one vector A and another vector B. Don't take this as that resultant for this diagonal. Don't take this diagonal as the resultant. So let us suppose the angle between the 2 vectors be theta. Then the diagonal from the common origin, that is PR, will give the resultant of their addition. So we represent it by this way. R is equal to addition of the 2 vectors A and B. Let us suppose the magnitude of the resultant R is magnitude, we not add over that, it is simply R. Now we want to find the value of this R in terms of A and B and theta, and we also want to find the direction of this R, at what particular angle it is acting. For direction we will be doing this one, alpha we will find. Anyway, so first we see this one parallelogram side PQ is extended and a perpendicular RN is dropped on it. We know in a parallelogram this angle is called corresponding angles. So corresponding angles are equal. So this angle is theta, so this angle will become theta. Now in triangle QRN, I take this side as x, this side as y. So use again the trigonometry. In triangle QRN, cos theta will be equal to base by hypotenuse. Therefore x value will become b cos theta. Sin theta will be equal to perpendicular by the hypotenuse y by b. So therefore y value will become b sin theta. So x value after finding we can put it back. X is equal to b cos theta after finding it. Y value we can write b sin theta. Why it is b? Because these 2 are opposite and equal. Sorry, they are in the same direction and they are parallel, same direction and equal in size. So this is b, so this automatically will become b. So now we are having x value b cos theta and y value b sin theta known. So now in triangle PRN, we are taking this one. PR in right angle triangle, we are using Pythagoras theorem. PR square is equal to PM square plus RN square. PM is how much? PM is x plus a. X plus a square plus y square. X value we know b cos theta. B cos theta plus a square. Y value is b sin theta. I put that value. Expand it using the formula a plus b whole square. A square plus b square plus 2ab plus b square sin equal theta coming. Write a square first. B square and b square common is taken. So you get cos square theta plus sin square theta plus 2ab cos theta. A square plus this is coming 1. So b square into 1 answer is b square only. Plus 2ab cos theta. This is the formula for finding resultant. Therefore, a square will remove and put a square root here. This r will be the resultant of magnitude of the resultant vectors r. Magnitude. Because without arrow we are writing here. This is only finding the magnitude of the resultant r. Resultant of the addition of these two vectors. This is the formula we apply. But this formula we better known by this relation. R square is equal to. It's easy to remember. Instead of root, we'll be writing in the form of square here. Now what about directions? So this must have R must have magnitude. Magnitude is given by this formula. What about the directions? The direction we find by finding an angle. So PR and this angle now we take as alpha for the sake of direction. And tan alpha in the same triangle will be equal to perpendicular by the base. Rn by this value PM. Tan alpha Rn value is b sin theta. And PM value is a plus base. I will be writing that. When tan goes the other side, it becomes 1 upon tan. That means it will become tan inverse. Tan to the power minus 1. We write that is tan minus 1 power. And we call it inverse of tan. So tan inverse this one. This alpha determines the direction of the resultant of addition of these two vectors. Direction for the resultant r. So this r alpha is angle with which vector? With the vector h that we mentioned there, with the vector a. So this will give the direction and this will give the magnitude. So this law is called law of parallelogram for the addition of two vectors. I already in the beginning said the statement for this law. So please you can note it down. Okay, thank you. There are three special cases. So case number one, it all depends upon the angle theta between the two vectors. First case we have when theta equal to 0 degree. That means when the angle between the two vectors is 0 degree or when the two vectors act in the same direction. Then what happens now? Then let us see the formula. R square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. Theta value is 0 degree. Cos 0 degree makes 1. So a square plus b square plus 2ab is become whole square a plus b whole square. Therefore r value will be equal to a plus b. For this practical situation, we will see that suppose F1 is like this. F2 is like this. F1 value is 2 Newton, F2 is 3 Newton. What will be the resultant of force? Resultant force will be F equal to, because they are in the same direction, then angle between them is how many degrees? 0 degree. We will be simply adding their value. 2 plus 3 becomes 5 Newton. And direction will be the direction of any one of them. What direction do they act like this? If this direction is the direction of east, we can write here due east. If you follow this mapping like this. If you follow this mapping, then this will be the direction of east. So under this situation, the two vectors are simply added. When are they simply added? When the angle between the two vectors is 0 degree, or when the two vectors act in the same direction, that time simple addition takes place. You can see in lower classes you have done this problem also. Suppose the boy goes 3 km like this, and again he goes 4 km in the same direction along this straight line path. How much is the distance traveled by the boy? 3 plus 4, that is scalar, so 7 km. And what is his displacement? Displacement also like this. Displacement is also 7. Because it is in a straight line, same direction. So angle theta is 0 degree and simple addition is taking place for the resultant. Now the second case you see when theta equal to 90 degree. Theta is equal to 90 degree, then we put that value of theta in the formula. Cos 90 degree is 0, the entire thing goes away. So r square becomes equal to a square plus b square. Let us take this situation. I have already done. If a vector A is like this, vector B is like this, angle between them is 90 degree, theta is 90 degree, then the If you make a parallelogram, the parallelogram will become a rectangle. This will be B. Vector A is A, this is B, this is B, this will also be B, only opposite sides are equal in a parallelogram. Then angle will be this is 90 degree, this angle is actually 90 degree, so this angle also become 90 degree, because this angle is 90, so this is also 90 degree. Then in that case, R is over here, that is R is simple Pythagoras theorem over here. And what about the direction? For direction, we will be taking this angle as alpha and we will be finding the direction here. Tan alpha is equal to B by A, or B will be, or alpha is equal to, or we write alpha is equal to tan inverse B by A. What direction do you call it in with respect to this mapping? Northeast. This will give the value angle alone. So that is when two vectors are making an angle 90 degree, that time we will be applying Pythagoras theorem. We will be drawing the diagram having 90 degree and we will apply the Pythagoras theorem and find it. Just now, in the beginning only I showed one case of 3 km like this towards east and then 4 km towards the north. The resultant was like this. This was displacement. We are making a parallelogram here. Parallelogram will become a rectangle. This 4 km will come here only. This is R resultant. This will come 5 km. That is the value of displacement, and we will find the value of this angle also. Tan alpha. Direction also we will find. That is the second case. Now case number 3, when theta is equal to 180 degree. That is when the two vectors are in opposite direction. For that the angle is taken is 180 degree. So cos 180 degree value is minus 1. So the formula becomes a square plus b square minus 2ab. This thing we can write either a minus b whole square or b minus a whole square. Because in whole square, when you change this one, it doesn't make a difference. Therefore, R value can come either a minus b or b minus a. So we use a symbol for it. This is called difference. Difference between a and b. The difference of their magnitudes. Then we see for vector is like this. A is over here. B is like this. In opposite direction. Vector is like this. Vector B is in this direction. Vector A value is suppose 5 unit of 5 Newton. Vector B is 2 Newton. What is the resultant of these two vectors? Resultant of their addition. Because of the opposite direction, you have to minus them. What is the value of the net force or the net resultant of these two vectors? 5 minus 2. Because of they are in the opposite direction, we have to subtract them. So 5 minus 2 become 3. So you can say the resultant of these two vectors is 3 Newton. The unit will remain the same. And the direction will be equal to the direction of the bigger one, whichever is bigger. So here A is bigger 5 Newton, B is 2 Newton, so A is dominating. So you have to give the direction of the bigger vector. And this will give the minimum value of the resultant. This case will give the maximum value of their resultant. So what I mean to say that two vectors always are not simply added. Only in one case we can add them simply. And what case? That is case 1, when they are in the same direction. Then only we can simply add them. They will behave like scalars in that situation only. In other case, it all depends upon the angle theta, and we will be using that formula. For R is magnitude of the resultant, and at the same time we find the direction. We will bother about the direction also, what direction it is. And when they are in the opposite direction, though we are finding the resultant of addition, but answer will come, magnitude will get subtracted because of this formula. Cos 180 degree is minus 1 because of the direction is opposite there. So the net resultant value will come subtraction of the two. And the direction will be the direction of the bigger one. If B is bigger than A, we will subtract then that and B minus A we will do. And the direction of bigger one will dominate and we will give the direction of the bigger one there. So this is the first case, first law of addition of two vectors, law of parallelogram. Thank you.